old-fashioned campaigning, and heard a lot of opinions and a lot of views from many people who've never been in office, who have been in office. You take those all to heart, and you mix them all inside and figure out what you personally feel is gonna be best, because after all, you were elected, we were elected to do what is best for this village. There's a confidence that everyone has in us because we were voted. And I wanna make the best of that, and I wanna again do what is best for this village.
Thank you, Tom. Moving along with public comments, the next person that put that they would like to speak is Ron, is it Matter?
Yes. Matter.
Matter?
Yes.
What would you like to say, sir?
I had some issues I wanted to address, but I think I won't address them at this time. I don't feel that you guys are working together coherently to even make a decision, to be able to give me an answer. I believe that's coming from past and the present that's up here. And instead of asking the questions and I'll do my legwork more and do the work that I was gonna ask about, and I'll come to the meetings and we'll see if you guys can manage to get, right now, I don't think you guys can manage to get together. 2 weeks have proved to me that you guys got a lot of work, and I don't think, you got a water project that everybody keeps preaching about, that if you guys you ain't got time to sit here and play. I ain't seen how you guys are funding it yet. I've been watching all the minutes, been reading, so somebody needs to tell me where that is so I can find that, because I ain't figured out how you're funding it. But
Engineers here will be getting him shortly.
All right, would anybody like to comment on what Mr. Matters had to say? I will go ahead and say that you are absolutely correct. We have a lot of work to do, and we need to work as a team. Obviously, it's very apparent, and that's what our biggest struggle is going to be. It may be if we want to make progress. And I encourage everyone that come to the meetings regularly, be involved, because this isn't just the 5 of us up here, Pat making resolutions and all this to go forward. I mean, there's many individuals, as I stated, that have such knowledge that I don't even have, or any of us have, and hope that you will continue to come, share your ideas, and any questions that you have, please bring them forward. Please. Moving along, the next person that said they would like to speak is Mr. Patrick Connors.
Yes. I've got 2 quick questions, I guess. One is in regards to the ambulance service, and it's probably not the best meeting to bring it up, because if we don't know who the zoning officer is, the issue we have at the new hall, under the old zoning officer, to get an occupancy permit, we have to have a sidewalk. We've been discussing it for a while, so we wanted to come to the board and see what can be done to get that sidewalk put in. We would need some financial assistance if we can. Our previous village representative, John, was gonna bring that to the meeting, and we didn't get any follow-up on it, so that's one thing I wanted to check on. The other issue, personal, living in the village, again with the highway super, or I guess it's DPW. As I've lived on that hill, I live on West Street at the water source, and there's a large water problem there. I know it will be addressed, there's some leakage in the systems, but throughout these years that I've lived there for almost 15 years now, the road maintenance has been chip the pavement on top of what's already there, and it's falling apart. We can't do that anymore. I'm cleaning more stones out of my yard than are on the road. And one ditch at a time going down the hill, they put culverts in and bury it over. So every time it rains, the dirt from the top of the hill stays on the pavement, making it all the worse. It used to be all paved, open ditches. The water and stuff had somewhere to go with clean-out boxes, and I think we gotta get back to that, open ditches on that hill. You can, as soon as it rains, you can watch the gravel go down the hill. So, just a few observations. That's enough for now, I think.
Well, thank you, Mr. Connors. Corey, can you address Mr. Connors in regards to both issues?
Right, it's in my report, but, this week I wanna actually run around and check all the roads, you know what I'm saying, get a good grasp on everything. The frost should be coming out of the ground, we're really close to it, and also with that, I did go up West Street, and I saw that that's one of the roads that we're gonna get to do something with it
ditches. There's quite a few roads, to be completely honest, that need a lot of help for that. So we will be coming, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, to make something happen there.
In regards to the sidewalk for where the ambulance building is, what's going on with that?
That wouldn't be anything to do with DPW.
I can address that for the C of O. You currently have a temporary C of O, have you seen it?
Roger, probably, I personally.
Okay, because I went through the building, did my inspection, you have a temporary certificate of occupancy based on the fact you have the remaining sidewalk to finish. And I think I stated something about designate no parking areas at the entrances, a few odds and ends, that's all it is. So you're just about ready to go.
No, I just brought it up so that we could
Understood.
ask the board or have it put on the agenda to see what we can do to work together to get the sidewalk.
Right, if I remember correctly, when they were doing the construction down there, we told them not to take it out.
Well, what it was, it was only the old pavement parking lot that,
And,
it wouldn't have survived.
okay,
That's why it came out. But we're at the point where we have to do something in that corner, so that's, at a later date, we'll have to.
Well, just for my own knowledge, I mean, who is then held responsible for the sidewalk if, because the village didn't take it out, right?
It's public right of way, so therefore who took it out is responsible for putting it back.
So was it the ambulance service that took it out?
I would assume,
Yeah.
in the construction project, yeah.
So then by law, then the village isn't to put that in, that would be the ambulance, correct?
That's what at least was designated on the temporary C of O, they're responsible for replacing that sidewalk.
Okay, so is the ambulance service more than well aware that it's to them that they have to cover the costs and put it into the rest of the sidewalk?
Well, we understand that the sidewalk has to be put back in, that's why we're asking if could be some assistance. Because we're gonna have to have the standards, it's gotta be put in, what do you want? And we could put back what was there, but you're not gonna be happy with it.
Okay,
We are asking for assistance, it will be a while, I mean,
all right, so that's something that we're gonna need to discuss down the road.
yes, that's fine.
Okay.
We're not against doing it, I'm not saying.
Okay. And I believe that is everybody that has requested to speak in the public session. Before we close the public comment, is there anybody else that would like to state something, or is everybody,
I'm sorry.
or is everybody good? I know that Susie wanted to state something.
I have a question, okay. Now, I know last year, Norman Maggie, when Norman Maggie were in town, it had taken them like 3 to 4 months to get a, permit for the porch, and they ended up having to, they weren't able to get one, so that they had to wait until the following year to put their porch up. So now I'm asking, so what are we doing? Are we keeping the same inspection officer? And my next question is now what are we doing? Are we still keeping the same fine
we don't know
lawyer?
yet, we haven't
So
gone
we
back
don't
in,
know.
we haven't gone back in.
Okay, so none of that is, we
We
do
aren't
not
there
know.
yet.
Okay, I'm just asking.
Just to inform you, because you're asking,
Okay,
the history behind that was permits were not issued due to the fact of setbacks, we needed variances. And in some cases, people that had constructed before they got a permit. So therefore, there's a lot of things that we have to put into place, such as notifications, time to remedy, then a stop work order. And then from there, if not remedied, then I have to create an appearance ticket, which takes time. These things are not fast if someone does not want to comply.
okay.
And I'm informing you.
Okay.
Code enforcement is not a fast, quick track. That's where mistakes are made. Mr. LaFever, can you please help me on that one? Thank you. It's about safety, boundaries. I have to check flood maps. I have to check the lot before I release a permit, because I am in a liable position not to create more talk amongst these members of how bad a job I'm doing. I make mistakes, it costs you. I haven't cost this village one dime. In fact, I've protected it in many areas. Eric's been witness to that. Sometimes things aren't agreeable, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're unlawful. Many times I take every instance to this board and I make it known before I do anything of contrary or contradiction. They know that. I come to them every time before I make a move. Nothing is, I'm not a wild Mustang out there shooting guns, you know. Things are planned, and everyone's given an opportunity to remedy. It's not an automatic appearance ticket. In fact, I think I've only written one appearance ticket, maybe two in the last 4 years I've been here. Because usually I can hold hands long enough and get things done. Currently, we have 2 demolition permits in place that we're gonna get remedied this year. We have businesses under zoning that has never been enforced before, until I got here. Now you have variances of special use permits. Your zoning is taking over. That's moving forward. So if you want to continue to move forward, I do ask the board, I do like my job, and I do it well. And I position myself well to say, tell me I did something wrong. That's usually why people get fired or terminated, in my book, ethics, honesty. You want to can me? Fine. I'll go into a fight. Tell me what I did wrong. I've done everything I can to be right. And sometimes you can't get a hold of me. Guess what? There's a part-time job. Everyone in here has a full-time job. I'm dedicated to my full-time. I am dedicated here too. And I do not cut permits without phone calls. Everyone gets a phone call. Leave a message, a text message with Rose. They get them. Sometimes I come in here just for one permit, only because they need it. I just came from a certificate of occupancy inspection, so I was a little late. I'm doing my job. I implore you to think about whoever you hire, because if you can enforce zoning, enforce permits, stop work orders, not be afraid, keep the law in check, for $3,500 a year, fine them.
All right, so you
I
may.
challenge you,
All right. your
only to tell me
comments-
what I did wrong.
Okay. In regards to that, then let me ask you why multiple municipalities, just including the town of Leon, requested that you resign from.
Wrong, I resigned on my own terms. You better check your information, because I can show you the resignation letter that was typed. I have a full file on this. Trust me, code officers keep records for a reason, because of situations like this. Now, as far as Dayton goes, 9.5 years, tell me I didn't do my job, and then they suddenly up and decided someone else, like this board's doing. I'm not including. 9.5 years, I did something wrong? My position's political, it always will be. Whoever you put here is appointed. Nothing protects me. Nothing protects the next guy who comes in. When the new wave of change comes through, I can be canned even though I'm doing my job. And everyone in this room, not everyone, some people in this room know I've done my job and I've helped them. Mickey, new business, Mr. LaFever.
You helped me.
Thank you.
You're
But I can bring in more people than you can bring in here to complain about me. I guarantee you that.
You're our MVP.
All right, so in regards to that, when I became mayor and looking at all the appointments, I reached out to people and asked for their opinions. I had a friend of mine who took over 3 weeks to get their permit to build for their house. And there was no follow-up. They had to constantly get in contact in order for it to be awarded. Can you justify
I
that?
find that highly objectionable. Everyone gets their permits, everyone gets a good build, everyone makes sure that it's a correct build. And plans and blueprints and stamp plans, and waiting for contractors to get me the right insurances, so in case they screw up, this village is covered under that permit. I have to gain a lot of paperwork to get a permit nowadays. And don't thank me, thank New York State for making me do this, because of my training, which you must make sure of. I make sure of. And once again, I haven't done anything wrong, I've just been careful, and I've been right. I think you want that.
Well, thank you for your comments.
I can vouch, you did help us a lot. We wouldn't be open down there if it weren't for
Some
someone
permits
that
are
took the
easier
time.
than others, but there is always going to be that thoroughness. That is my reputation. One thing I have ever known when I leave an office, my integrity is intact. No one has ever said I never did my job. And that's pretty much, oh, by the way, can I just read off the permits that we recently done? I usually do that. Thank you. Recently, we had a special use variance issue. I don't know if I read these off last time or I missed the meeting. Parking spaces, we allowed statistics of variance for long-standing parking spaces that were always assumed to be, this is a great example too, were always assumed as parking spaces. Well, 76 is going through a new ownership, which means the outside world. Lawyers. No.
That's okay.
So something I have to deal with as code officer. I have to deal with lawyers. You know, keeping advised of zoning and dealing with clients possibly, but anyway, the new ownership, their lawyers did a survey, did a map check, and sure enough, those parking spaces were in the right of way. Liable situation. So they applied to the village. They came to me, I didn't go to them. I mean, hey, you got a problem? No, they researched, they came to me, but that shows you how the outside world sometimes creeps in. And now we have to claim some sort of legal standing. How does the village react? Well, we granted a variance. Now it's recorded. Now you have something there that protects anything that happens to those automobiles. They are liable. We allow the variance as long as they are responsible for what is in the right of way. So if you park there and your car gets hit, guess what? Something's in place. When there was never anything there, and it could have came up that way. Through casualty or an accident. So we solved it. Done. Next one, auto repair body shop. Bradley's long-standing building, used to be, was shut down for a while. New ownership, so therefore new permit. They have now auto body repair shop, and we've already approved, what, one other one? Zelfa? On Scott Street, right? So we've already got two now under zoning. So when businesses come to town, we are practicing the full zoning to keep the liable situations in check. That's it.
Thank you for explaining that to me.
No problem, no problem. There's a lot that goes into a permit. Some are easier, some are harder.
All right, so that concludes the public comment and also already starting the reports of officials and committees. Frank already addressed the planning and zoning. Start off with the police department. What all do you guys have to report?
Mike, who has been out, has been severely concussed. Should be back this week. He did email me a letter that he typed up and sent over, so I'll read that to you, and that'll be the conclusion of our notes. I would like to congratulate the mayor and new board member for winning the election. The police department is looking forward to working with you and moving in a positive direction. The police car was damaged last month. Officer Miller became stuck on patrol, and in the process of being pulled out of the situation, the trunk lid was damaged. The vehicle was repaired by Gowanda Ford at the cost of approximately $1,400. The insurance company paid the village minus the deductible and should only be a $300 cost for the village. The taser is now in... Yeah. The taser is now in service, and all the officers are certified to use it and carry it. I'm going to be in the process of interviewing this month to hire another officer, and I should be back to full duty by the end of this month. Feel free to contact me anytime if you have any questions. He's provided a cell phone number of 432-4054. Mike McCarthy, officer in charge.
Would you give that number again? I always like it. I'm deaf. Slow it up, guys. You're talking too fast. I'm a good job.
432-4054.
Thank you.
And I do have our activity report for you.
Okay.
Printed out as well. You want me to make copies for everybody? Do you want it? And you can do it.
If you could make copies for the rest of the board members, we appreciate it.
I can do that for you.
Thank you. All right, going along, streets and DPW. Corey?
Yes, sir. Since the last board meeting, I finalized the FEMA paperwork with map and sending recovery. We've also received one finalized blue folder. I expect in the next few weeks the rest of the folders and money to start coming into the village. Had a highway superintendent's meeting on Thursday, South Dade Hotel. State DOT had representatives that talked about the upcoming projects they have planned for this summer. Unfortunately, they're not planning any projects on the state or in the village. They also said that our CHIPS funding will be very close to what we received last year, which is good news. And then in the budget, they are also doing an increase on the winter hardship line that we received last year. It's going to be an increase of 25% of that is what they they had said. I've been contacted by the county health department. We will be involved in a county-wide water taste testing in Olean this weekend at the Greater Olean Area Home and Garden Show. We've started street sweeping, actually today. We'll be continuing that until the roads are finished, along with cleaning out our ditches and catch basins. We're going to be doing some ditchings, approximately 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. Some of them have been left untouched for a number of years. There's other things to do in the summer, I understand that. I'm going to start this week looking at the roads that we'll be chip sealing, doing improvements on, to help us better preserve the road surface for the next few years. Thank you, Corey Gross.
All right, so in regards to all of that, I sent you numerous emails in regards to expectations, in regards to where we are, and I didn't receive a single email back from you.
I just got the hard copy.
Do you not open your email every day?
I tried to open my email went down actually, I even pulled those up.
Okay, so if you could please then, if you could just give me an answer back in regards to that.
Okay.
Just because I don't know in regards to, you know, what we're planning to fix, chip, if we have the equipment rented. I don't know all the processes, and I'm not gonna act like I do. I just wanna know that we're covered for the summer, that we're gonna get everything done.
Like I said, as soon as I get it done, Dan, as soon as I finalize it this week, I wanna do it by Friday, I'll email you immediately what our plan is.
Okay, and then also, in an email that I sent you, went over, you know, some simple expectations. Thank you. In regards to, you know, creating an agenda for you and your men, in regards to, you know, providing a report just so I know exactly what our DPW did throughout the day. If anybody has any questions in regards to what are they doing, well, here's exactly what they're doing. Here's what we had to cover, all of that. Just simple supervisory tasks, pretty much. So going forward, and it will be expected that, you know, you do that daily. It should only take maybe 5-10 minutes. It shouldn't be very complex. Just here's what we're doing today, and here's what we did. It's really that simple. Just like any supervisor in any position, because I know I've had to as a supervisor, and just providing what's going on. That's all. Just holding everybody accountable. That's pretty much it. Yes, Nikki.
Okay, so I know what's in the email.
Daily stuff.
Daily stuff.
I'll be honest with you,
That's
daily's
a
gonna be
lot.
tough.
I think
To be
weekly
clear.
would be good, because I mean, still, you're gonna get more information out of a weekly, you know what I mean?
Daily would be tough, Dan, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. Daily's gonna be an issue, that would be tough.
So in regards to that then, it's only 15, whether it be 15 minutes early before your shift starts, and 15 minutes before your day, after your day ends, whatever. You can even do it from the leisure of your home, since you are salary.
One thing that I do ask with that is, if you want me to send you that daily, it is what it is. If that's what you want to see, it's gonna be tough, but if I send you that in the morning that says, Dan, I'm gonna do ditches and I'm gonna fix the roads, and then at 12 o'clock I get a water main break and all, I didn't send you that information that, Dan, I didn't tell you that. I'm going to that. I mean, I hope you understand that. I'm not gonna do the things to supersede each other.
Can I interject there? You're being paid for your expertise in the field, not for your expertise shuffling paper, except in instances like FEMA. I would rather have you fix the water main break. Going back to an incident last week, and I think we owe you an apology. An email was sent to Mr. Gross last week. It arrived to him at 10:06, and the email was addressed from the board. I had no knowledge of this email. Nikki, did you know about this email?
Not until I
Not
saw
till you
it.
saw it. Well,
No, I didn't.
no, it was addressed from the board to Mr. Gross. In
and
said,
copied to
we have copies.
Rose.
In said email, I don't know any salaried employee, to my experience, who is required to punch in.
You want me to answer that?
Go for it.
So in regards to that is to track the time of what our employees are doing. Doesn't necessarily mean that's not how they're paid, but it's to know when they're at work and what's going on. It's simply that, you come in, punch in, when you're done, you leave, you punch out. It's just a ledger of your time to show that you were indeed at work.
We understand that. All the years I taught, I was salaried, I never punched in. They took me as my honor that I was there. Now I am an hourly employee. I punch in, I punch out. I understand. Corey, you do a wonderful job. I don't think it's out of the question that you report to Mr. Mosier and let him know what you're doing. But you don't need a babysitter, okay? At the same time, again, if you're going to use the term the board, please make sure you confer with the board. Okay, I was totally ignorant of this correspondence.
So let me respond to that. At the heading of the email, it states, the village board is working to help improve documentation of village functions and to help inform the board of the regular activities of village employees. As mayor, it is my duty to provide regular supervision at all village employees and appointed offices, and I want to perform my duties to the best of my ability. So is it wrong of me to state
No,
that we,
I
the
don't
board, are
think-
working to improve
But
the
we
processes?
still should have seen an email before it was sent.
Well, this email that I sent is in direct correlation between supervisor and employee. So it's in regards to myself and Corey and letting him know what the expectations that are set forth.
Can I interject? Why then is Rose included on
So-
the CC and we aren't?
So that Rose can put it in his email box. That is why.
And,
So in case he doesn't check his email, as his email goes down, boom, all right, he still receives it, whether it be a hard copy.
Dan, if you ever need to contact me, call me. You're guaranteed to get an answer.
He
Guaranteed,
answers.
right now. Text me. That's what I'm saying. If you need something that's an emergency, that's immediate, you need an answer right now, just call me. I will answer my phone, man. I guarantee it.
and
Okay. Go ahead.
And the other thing, and I'm not in no way trying to, I don't know, I'm not trying to start a feud, but Rose is an employee. Does she submit to you a daily agenda? And at the end of the day, tell you exactly what she did and why she didn't get stuff done and.
Let me explain that. Actually, Rose does, because guess what? I've been coming here every night after work, and I talk to Rose about her day.
So you can call him though, right?
I don't have his number to begin with. All I have is his email address to reach him.
I'll give you my number.
You gotta reach out, man, you're the employer.
So then, in regards to the topic of the emails that I sent, I think it's fair then the public to know what was sent.
That's fine, no,
Let me
don't,
also-
I understand, but I said, once you use the term the board feels, the board, in accordance with the board, the board was on board.
All right, well, in regards to this, since this has been brought up, we'll go ahead and read this document because it's for employment.
Come on, forget it, it's just, it's
No,
not,
we'll go ahead and read it because you guys brought it up, so everybody should know what's going on.
Let's do it.
So, as I read the beginning of the email, and I wrote, so as you know, you are an employee of the village of Cattaraugus. Listed below are the expectations for the superintendent of public works, which include but are not limited to. I put on there, number one, you need to start keep track of your time daily, and that will require punching in and out for your shift and lunch breaks. You will need to turn in your time daily to the village clerk. Time away from work is acceptable with valid excuses. However, those must be well documented, just like any employer. You are a salary employee, and that means before sending village employees out to work, you will be expected to work first before village employees receive overtime. Efficient use of time, which may already be happening, should be documented to prevent the appearance of impropriety and to allow for effective administration of the village by the board and mayor. If there is a circumstance that may require overtime, you as a supervisor will be required to handle the situation first, and if additional help is needed, work alongside of village employees. If needed, such as an example like a water main break, plowing, so on and so forth. As approved in the board meeting tonight and at the discretion of the mayor as supervisor of village employees, the village truck and all village vehicles are not to be used for personal use. And all village vehicles are not to leave the village boundaries unless for work related such as, checking the springs and wells for water testing, attending government and training meetings, which while being wary that public vehicles should not be used for ones where alcohol will be consumed before or after the function, equipment and parts needed in an emergency that would prevent the service of a resident and where the part cannot be delivered by the distributor or wholesaler, and not for any reason that does not benefit the village residents. We need to keep tabs on village property, and adhering to the village property policy helps us to do that and to keep taxes lower by avoiding unnecessary losses. Continuing on, as supervisor of the Department of Public Works, you will need to create an agenda and workflow for your employees every day and to adhere to it unless an emergency arises. So that states that. You are to give guidance and direction to your employees and be a mentor and leader for them. I want you to submit an agenda daily to myself and the village clerk, and a daily report recapping what was accomplished in that agenda and anything else. We want to stimulate goal-oriented thinking in the department, and we know your enthusiasm can be well challenged. The village needs to be constantly updated on where it stands for FEMA and all grants and what stage of the funding process they're in. In regards to grants, you will need to keep your accomplishments updated daily with who you spoke with, what progress is being made. Also, in regards to grants, any new grant you are working on will need to be included in your daily report to the mayor. As you are already intimately aware, FEMA grants and funds are a very important part of administering the village properly, and if ignored, the village suffers greatly. In the handing off of previous public works employees, poor documentation has undoubtedly led to lost time, duplicating efforts towards FEMA grants, and time wasted relearning the impacts of various emergency conditions. Again, as a leader, you are going to be expected to provide documentation that helps the village grow and improve. Thus far, as the supervisor of the employee, I don't feel that that's too much to ask just to know what's truly going on, because I don't know the Department of Public Works.
It's great.
You don't know.
Still, if the village feels we represent the village. The other thing is, when he was hired at the minutes of the December 8th board meeting, the truck is at your disposal. Just like it is for Bob Barber in Otto, just like it is for Dale Perkins at school, and just like it is for Nate Widrig at the town in Wellman. That was a condition of your employment, and I thank you for not taking it home, but you have the right to, because that's the way we hired you.
In regards to that, the board made the resolution that was to not continue going forward to help save costs going forward. Then also, just to finish up this email quickly, which we're almost done, is also administer progressive disciplinary action to employees when violating the village handbook and for act of carelessness by employees. Any incident and or accident that arises by an employee must be dealt with accordingly and documented. Any disciplinary action administered will need to be included in your daily report. Before administering any disciplinary action, you must submit it to the mayor for review, and a response will be given within 24 hours. This helps myself, the mayor, to perform the duties regarding supervision of all village employees, and helps to back up any case you may have of employee misconduct. Further, if the village ever needed to move to terminate an employee, a full case of documentation helps protect the village from unlawful termination suits and helps us to negotiate with the unions. As a supervisor, you are undoubtedly aware of the need to protect the village from distracting suits when sensitive personnel matters must be handled efficiently. And lastly, any questions or comments may be directed to myself, and guidance or direction will be provided. We are transitioning to a new administration, and your advice and guidance can help make this transition successful. Your expectations and experiences will help us to make the entire village a better place for all of us, and we really appreciate your assistance. Lastly, I include in the email as being new to the office of mayor. More expectations may arise due to more familiarity, experience, and training of the Department of Public Works, Water, and Sewer, plus basic best practice advice we will be receiving from workshops and our advisors to help us hone the village sharply. I thank you very much for the efforts you have already made. I look forward to working with you extensively and making progress in the Department of Public Works, Water, and Sewer. There may be specific actions that the head of Public Works should be performing, which I am not yet fully aware of, and which I would later perhaps have chosen to include. Please forgive me of these omissions, as I am learning quite a bit here too. Sincerely, Dan Mosher. So I don't feel that just to end this, that, I'm just doing what is in the best interest of the village and to make sure that our employees are indeed working and working with the supervisors and that he has employees himself that he supervises. Then we have action plans going forward and we know what is being done. And that way, because let's face it, we're a small town, people say, oh, this guy's doing that guy's doing that. And then when we have a report saying, guess what, they were actually doing this, or whatever the case may be, it protects the village and,
Like the code officer, right?
pardon?
Like the code officer.
Right.
A lot of people say this, a lot of people say that, but the proofs in the paperwork, the permits, the correct protocols. That's all I wanted to say.
Sorry, I'm gonna get anything up a second. As far as the punching in and out in reference to that, I feel that it would be helpful to have a better indicator of when you're in town, when you're around, when you get here in the morning, whatever. Just because, as I was going out talking to people, as I mentioned before, pre-election, I heard a lot of complaints that they didn't see the truck, they didn't see you in it. Yeah, I'm just telling you what I was heard. Now, none of these are signed complaints, and I'm not bringing them as an actual issue before the board, but it just raises my own curiosity. Now, and also to be fair, just today, I received a compliment to you from one of our residents while I was at work, that you've been helping them extensively in the last few days, weeks, whatever the case would be, and they're very appreciative of that. I'm glad that they're happy, I'm glad that you were able to do that. I'm just curious, I'd like not documentation, but evidence that what they say is the norm, not the exception, that's all.
You wanna get
Yeah.
Yeah, I let your mother go first earlier, so you were gonna come back to me and you forgot me, so I was hoping I could get my opportunity. You have those expectations for all the other village employees?
I am working actually this week with Tom and myself, have a meeting with the police department, see what
Why
we're going
just
to be
do
doing.
it now?
Because we're over the police department and I myself am the, again, supervisor of all employees, so.
Really? Thanks for that.
No, that's what we
I
decided.
just was asking.
It was also,
Just
also,
let you know that
it was requested to be that way.
Oh my God, really?
Yes.
Not you,
Can I-
I'm just laughing
Can
at,
I,
sorry.
Rose?
In regards to Rose, in regards to the clerk, I've met with Rose, I meet with her daily, seeing what's going on, she fills me in on what's, when bills are being done, so on and so forth, in communication with her every single day.
Do you have written expectations for her?
Haven't gotten to that, no,
So, Joy, written expectations?
not in regards to the deputy clerk either, yes, no.
Code enforcement officer, written expectations, whoever it is?
That would be Mr. Brocker at this point in
Okay.
time.
No?
Okay, it's only been a week
I'm
now.
asking.
Yes,
Okay.
now it's only been a week
Okay.
since, and
The
the first-
attorney?
Hold on, let me answer your question. In regards to that, I am meeting with each individual department, and working on stuff. First off is, okay, so I've met with, let's see here, going to the board, or going to the meetings in regards to the budget, set expectations for Corey, and then we're meeting with the police department. I mean, you can only do so much in 1 week of holding office, right?
So you sent those out the night of that meeting at 10:00 something?
10:04.
10:04?
We were here beyond it, past 8:30.
What time did you end the meeting? This says 7:24,
No.
based on what these folks are telling me, and I highly doubt you
It
were
was
done at
after
7:24.
8:30.
Okay.
Obviously, that was composed ahead of time, you could have shown
The organizational meeting
Exactly.
started at 6 and went until 7:24.
7:24.
Okay, I forgot you started early, my bad. But,
No, the
As
email
far as-
that I sent is at 1:04:43 in the morning. So I don't know where anybody's trying to say that I planned or did something to Corey.
No.
However, though, at 1:04 in the morning, that means I spent a couple hours working on this. And I want everybody to know that I'm clearly, okay, you know what? Wanted to make sure that we had guidance for the DPW. And then we're working on guidance for this or that. So,
Also,
Okay.
to be fair, that night, Corey's position was, exception of lawyer and code enforcement, the only position that came up in the heated manner. So your decision to write a expectation for that position at that time, I see the value in. I also see your point too, Eric, where, you know, we should have actual written expectations for our deputy clerk, our clerk, I'm sorry, code enforcement, everyone. You're right, it's not fair, and it does, I guess, sort of seem like you're singling someone out, but it, again, as Dan said, there's only so much you can do in 1 week, and I'd like to point out, that was the only position highly contested that evening.
Wrong, you were wrong about that position, that's why it was.
That's
Okay.
your opinion.
But anyways, you worked for this village department for 3 summers, right?
I did.
Did you ever punch a time clock?
Yes.
All those 3 summers?
Not all of them.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
also, to be fair,
Okay.
the rest of the employees did not punch us time. When they began to punch
You're an
time
hourly
clock, I
employee.
began to punch time clock.
You're an hourly employee. You
Yes,
are an hourly employee at
I
the time.
was.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. How do you pay an hourly employee without having that one punch the time clock? But yet, a salary employee who's on call 24/7 at this meeting tonight, not getting paid, but yet the other DPW employees, if they were here, they'd be getting paid. Expect that person to punch a clock. Without, and you fully admitted, he's the only one you've addressed thus far. This is personal. I'll say it one more time. This is personal. This is vendetta by the previous superintendent.
We
And
have
you
done-
guys,
All right, hold on a second.
Dan, if I may.
I know public speaking's over. I didn't sign that sheet because I ain't never been to one of these before. But Corey, I've known you for however long, coaching football. You were up. You did a good job. I have great respect for you. Nikki, you're my neighbor. Our kids play together. You're one of the best neighbors I got. Dan, I've known you for quite a while. You're a good friend. Tom, my daughter went to school with you. Gene, I've known you ever since I dealt with this bank. I fill in your driveway every time I plow by. This is gonna be 2 parts. I know all of you except for this gentleman here. Until I came in here, I've never seen him before, but that's here nor there.
I've been here 6 years on the board.
I know all of you, and you guys are better than this. You guys are much better than this. And I'm gonna say this, from what I've seen, the problem you're having here, the way you were hired and everything, I hope you stick out with the job, I really do. But if he's the one that hired you, he's the one that screwed you up.
that's not true.
And
I did
I'm
what I
gonna,
was supposed to do.
let me speak, you had ample time.
I'm sorry.
I don't even know you.
I apologize.
I don't even know you.
I'll agree,
So-
Jason, I'm stuck in I'm stuck in a shitty.
I feel bad
Let's
for
be
you.
honest,
I
I
do.
really am, I'm not gonna lie to anybody.
You did.
know?
It's right in the.
All right,
I'm sorry, if this is turned into this, I really am.
No,
Like,
let
this-
if they,
That's
go ahead, Jason, I'll see.
You guys are all better than this. Rick, I've known you, you and your wife do more in this town than anybody else I've seen. I wish I had half the energy you and your wife had. Now, like I said, you guys are better than this, but how much communication did you guys have before and after this transition? You guys act like there was no mesh from whoever Tom took over, whoever Dan took over from, there's no sync in you guys. You guys need to work like cogs, not bricks.
We understand. This all is coming about simply because there's a request to revisit some of the decisions we made last Monday. That's all we want to do is reopen it. That's it.
And I get that. I do, Rick, I do. And with everything I seen on the meeting last week, you guys are making mountains over molehills because, as far as I'm concerned, he's our superintendent. That's what I took out of the meeting. He's our superintendent. That's what it is. Dan stated himself. He is our superintendent. It's all on paper. Who cares
There's
about
no
the paper?
question there. There's no question.
Let him finish. Are you-
It's just, you guys just seem like you had nothing. He's new, Tom's new. Did you have any information coming into this, what you guys were looking into?
Very little.
They attended the last
Not a
meeting.
thing. No,
They
it's
said,
not.
they said,
Clueless.
they said they did. Sure, it's all right.
Did you give him anything, and whoever Tom took over for, did you try and help him? That's what I wanna know.
Tom knows more about the water than me. He's already admitted it, okay? How a summer worker knows more about the water system than someone who's worked on it for the last 4 years along with the engineers. I don't know.
May I speak to that?
listen, this is getting out of hand, you're right, Jason, I'm sorry, this is getting out of hand, okay? And.
Well, I'm sorry,
I'll-
answer my
I'll-
question though. Did you
I'll-
guy, who did you take over for?
John Brandenburg.
John, he was here earlier, he left, I'm sorry, but what did you guys do to help us? I mean, I know you guys lost, and I'm sorry to hear that, but what did you guys do? I mean, this,
It's local. It's local.
you guys, this is a shame, it really is.
Doesn't help.
Excuse me, can I
Jason, I
just
kept
get one
being told that we're going in a new direction. New direction. You guys are about this all wrong. We're going in a new direction. That was the whole theme. That was the theme. That's what got these guys elected. They went door to door. Well, I was working my butt off, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, running the ride and gun, running the school board, and trying to be mayor, okay? They went door to door and made statements that we're heading in a new direction.
Okay. Are you
Okay.
going to be repeating, or are you going to actually make a statement that has justifiable value to the board, to the
I think
public?
what he's
Whatever I
saying is
said, you
that.
have no value in. So, I'm
All right, we're done with that.
I just
Susie?
wanted to say, and everybody knows Daniel's my son, but I also work as fire commissioner, and lots of times when new people get into these positions, people that have been on these boards, they do not look at the law. And right now, I know my son has taken these books and he has been looking at the law, and, yes, and people do not look at the law, and Eric, and I'm sorry,
I do.
you've been as you've been doing all these things that you say you've been doing, my son is on the phone with NISAC and working with the lawyers and doing all these things so that this town is run right, and that these people are having the right credentials and all these things, and I'm sorry, but he wants to do what's right for this town, so that we can move in a
no one
forward.
said he wasn't.
Okay, and I'm
We
just saying.
completely respect the time that you give, because I know, I mean, geez, Dan, we grew up together. You're my friend. Even no matter if we're bickering in here, you're gonna be my friend outside.
Ms. Pritchard?
I feel there's a great deal of disrespect in this room for you and for Tom and for each other, for your position as a village board. Disrespect. I hope you all go home tonight and do watch the video. I hope you all watch the video. You will not be proud. I wasn't. I'm not proud sitting here. I just think this is a shambles. You're wasting time, you're trying to define him at every.
Go ahead, Lon.
Yes, Liz.
Can I rise to a point of order here? Let's get back to the agenda.
Good,
Great.
there is one.
All right, so, was that everything for the streets and DPW, water and sewer?
Thank you, Lynn.
I do have a question. I'm in an EMT class right now, there's a test tonight. May I be dismissed so I can go to my test tonight?
Yes. That is fine.
Thank you, guys.
In
Thanks,
regards
Lori.
to village, in regards to village properties, I don't believe that is there anything that needs to be discussed in regards to village properties at this point in time? I don't believe so. The events and Memorial Day Parade, I think that's the biggest thing that we have coming up, and that, as we discussed in the organizational meeting, that everybody in the board is going to be working on that, so probably come the work session on the end of the month, we'll be discussing what we can do and how we can make this a better event for our community. In regards to insurance, I talked with, let's see here, I received an email from, ENB in regards to it, and also I reached out to our current insurance agency, the Grain Agency. And after everything's done with the budget, so we know exactly what we're looking at, we'll see who can give us the better value altogether for insurance purposes. Civil defense, don't believe we have anything in regards to that. Does anybody know? Youth council, we need to reach out to.
I think we should, I'm sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt. I think that we should, kind of be keeping an eye open for, prospective people.
I have someone in mind.
For youth council?
Yeah.
Senior citizens, has anybody discussed anything with the senior citizens at all by chance, met with them? So come the next meeting, over whatever who was all accepted the, yeah,
I believe so.
in regards to that, so come the next meetings, we'll make sure that we all,
It's usually the condition of the building.
Yeah.
yeah, so, but just going forward in regards to all the officials and committees, that, whoever resides over whichever, who reports to what, that we attend the meetings and we have something of value to bring to the board meeting so that can be known to the public. Parks and trees, is there anything to report? Ambulance. I can't, who had ambulance?
Actually, there is one thing to add.
Yes.
We will be having an open house for the new building on the first Sunday, I think it's May 3rd, from 12 to 4. The ambulance will be, so we can open the building and show you what it is. Because the ambulance is actually inside of it now.
What was the date?
May 3rd. We were gonna do it this next Saturday or Sunday, but I think there's a choir concert at the school, and we didn't want to compete, so.
Do you know what time it is?
12 to 4.
I'm interested to see, every morning I look up and see, you know, the construction and stuff
Pretty soon
going
they'll be
on
doing the
out
outside,
there.
so the outside will look better too, so. Yeah, there'll be hot dogs and drinks provided, and we'll show the ambulance and all the equipment. We won't even make you cook.
The date of the open house was May
May 3rd.
3rd, thank you.
That first Sunday, I think that's the correct date.
Thank you.
Also, excuse me, but ambulance is trustee Fuse and senior citizens is trustee Gunther.
Okay.
Did they tell you the nights of the meetings?
89.
We're usually the second Thursday. We've been pretty good. At 7 o'clock right at the hall.
All right, treasurer report.
I emailed out different reports prior to the organization meeting on expenditures. Haven't heard back, so I'm assuming there's no question. I don't recall hearing that you opened the budget hearing. That was under item 1. I don't believe you opened the budget hearing.
Can we do
Because
that?
tonight is the budget hearing.
Is that too, it's good.
No, you can,
I'll make a motion to open the budget hearing.
Let him, why don't we do that? Do we need to do that before you're finished, or?
well, I'm done other than budget, but, I don't believe, I didn't hear you open the budget hearing, but.
Okay, so, it's only inform me because I don't know.
Budget hearing, you just.
We normally
go
open
over
the hearing,
everything.
and then during the course of the evening, if anybody's here to discuss the budget, we can discuss it. And then later at the end, you close it, and then you would adopt the budget.
Everything's
Okay, so, do we wanna do that now, or do we wanna wait until we get done with, officials and committees?
I would open the hearing, but then wait and then ask the public if there is any comments or questions on the budget,
Okay,
and then
alright, so,
Alright, so I made a motion to open. Anyone wanna?
Second.
get a second? All in favor of opening the budget hearing, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, so we're doing that. Clerk, tax collector, and registrar. So, Rose, do you have anything to report?
You do? I just wanted to report, Daniel already mentioned that I attended the Cattaraugus County Municipal Officials Association meeting with him Thursday, April 9th. I also am planning my vacation from May 4th through May 8th. That week, Joy will be available to cover the office. I've had a request to increase consumption on the March 1st billing for 17 Gale Drive for Rick Fuse's house, to increase it from 7,000 to 8,000 gallons. And I can't make that decision myself, so I brought it to the board for their decision.
So,
What's going on, Rick?
I have no idea, my work gets touched on.
Oh,
I have no-
dear.
I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about it. She does that all the time. I think she wants to be, I don't know, she wants to be billed more. You better talk. I don't think it's a big deal.
It's still a minimum bill, it's still the same amount of money, it's just changing the amount of the consumption.
So how does that reflect the water bill, I guess, is what I wanted to know.
It doesn't change anything other than the consumption that's recorded.
Okay, so, is that all it is? I don't, I mean,
I earn money, she disposes of
That's the way it should be.
You're gonna make plumbers dirty, right?
now in regards to that, I mean, how does that affect if somebody else were to come and request that their consumption be, like, as soon as she wants it to be higher?
Nikki call it.
Dan, can I interrupt you?
Yeah.
I believe what the question had come up previously is 8,000 is a basic, correct?
Yeah,
And
0 to
I believe
8,000.
for some reason on their card, it's not showing that. And I
As the
believe
basic.
what she wants is showing that the basic consumption is really 8,000 gallons, that in case they go over, it shows they do get 8,000.
You know more about my house than I do.
I believe that's the whole issue, is that it's just not
Keep showing.
showing.
Okay, so we just need to have that updated, correct?
Yeah, I just need approval to do that, whether
So
you do it by
moved.
motion or you just decide to.
All right, all in favor, say to increase it to 8,000, or say to have to say 8,000, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, approved and carried. That was an easy one. Is there anything else?
I have, is Jesse Bradley here?
No, but I can probably speak on behalf.
Jesse came to see me about the water consumption at 83 South Main. He says from the second week of January 2014, for 62 days he had no water. It was then fixed, but he had no volume. It was frozen again this winter. He's unsure about the repair. He'd like the volume check, and he would like an adjustment on his bill.
Can I maybe just fill in a few spaces?
Well, I just don't understand, before we,
We haven't taken over the water bill yet, so it's not even like we're,
that's.
okay.
No, what I need to know though is in regards to that, I mean, does the village ever do that? Have they ever done that in the past?
Adjusted a water bill?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, for less, more, both,
Both, if I remember correctly.
okay, and, I mean, so it'd be understand in regards to the circumstances for it, correct? So, he's asking that it be prorated to be less because he did not have the service?
Because
He was froze for
62 days he had no water.
last winter.
And then he had no volume once it was fixed, and then it was frozen again this winter. Right now, he has a balance of $885.34, and that will be re-levied onto the 83 South Main Street taxes as of the
I have one very
24th.
important question, because there may be some legal advice that I can provide on this that's important. So the pipe was frozen. Do you know if it was determined if the freeze was on his property or on village property?
I don't know.
Generally, if it's on private property, it's the private property owner's responsibility to have that freeze taken care of. And it would probably be appropriate for the village not to undo his water bill, because that would have been his responsibility. Although it is, of course, your purview to do as you wish on it. I'm just saying that's typically how it's done. If it's on the village's property where the freeze occurs, you would almost certainly be mandated, if you were a public utility, to have to refund him those charges because you didn't provide him service. But a municipality is not regulated by the Public Service Utility Corporation. Villages are actually, they enjoy a very wide latitude in terms of utility billing and how they want to do it. But it almost in all cases, that would be.
It's our guys spend a lot of time on services.
I give them props
Yeah,
because
a lot. I mean, businesses.
These
are-
bats
there's a bad-
So, but in regards to all this then, in 1 second, Frank, is that, I mean, we would have to determine, I mean, so we'd have to know whether the freeze was on our end, or if the freeze was because of the residency. Because, I mean, like, is Jay saying in regards to how it would reflect for us legally, I would say that typically speaking, if it's on ours, then we could adjust that accordingly. If it's him, then he's held responsible for that, clearly.
For fixing the freeze, but
Yes.
in terms of whether you wish to prorate the bill because of internet service, you could have the power to do that if you chose to.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, do you, Rose, good question, do you know by chance, what we've done in the past typically if an issue like this has arose, do you know?
No, I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, I'd have to research it out.
Okay, Nikki, go ahead.
What about, do you by chance have anywhere saying where it was froze? Would it be anywhere?
We usually don't even look at, I don't even think we even look at that, they just usually go on unthought service. No, it's not usually.
Most